up in the chat. A W. Ha.
Three months ago, no one would have believed this. The Indiana Fever just pulled off a turnaround that hadn't been seen since 2015, for the first time in nearly a decade. They're sitting 4 games above .500, and they did it without Caitlin Clark suiting up. But that's not even the job. While most assumed they'd falter without their biggest star, the Fever responded by smashing for franchise records, all in one game against Paige Bueckers and the Dallas Wings. Here's where it gets wild. The breakout heroes weren't longtime vets. They were 2 fresh faces who weren't even part of the team when the season tipped off. Suddenly, they're the centerpiece of one of the season's most inspiring storylines, wondering which records fell. Let's just say the night was lit up by Kelsey Mitchell, Aliyah Boston, Natasha Howard, and the newcomers Aari McDonald and Chloe Bibby. If you're riding with the Fever, hit that like button and drop a comment. I've got the Fever. Let's ride this wave.
Good win over Phoenix. Stephanie White called that a big win. They were outstanding. Mitchell,
come on.
The former Dallas Wing, Natasha Howard.
Nobody was looking for this. We think Kelsey Mitchell's going to shoot, but that is the play to make right there. Nobody in the passing lane.
Everyone thought the Fever would collapse without Caitlin Clark, but what unfolded was nothing short of remarkable. Flashback to August 1st. Clark sidelined for the 6th consecutive game, still nursing that groin injury from July 15th. No clear date for her return. Across the court, the Dallas Wings had secured the massive American Airlines Arena home turf of the Mavericks. Paige Bueckers was locked in, determined to stop the slide after the Wings had lost 8 of their last 10, that the stakes were sky-high. With their engine out, could Indiana keep the momentum alive and prove they were more than just a one-player team?
Wins in a row, a season high. Just how have you been able to find that rhythm over this stretch?
I think it's been about, we've had some practices, and I think practicing has definitely tuned us up, fine-tuning as far as the details. We knew before All-Star that, the second half of the season is always about people making adjustments, people finding ways to stop what we have to do. And I think that on us, we try to do a good job of staying locked in at practices and shoot-arounds and all that kind of stuff to be where we need to be.
From the very first tip-off, the team's resolve was unmistakable. They burst onto the court with a fiery determination, clearly eager to prove themselves rather than waiting for anyone else to step up. This wasn't going to be a mere fight for survival. It was an emphatic declaration of intent. Taking charge from the get-go, Kelsey Mitchell seized the moment. She attacked the basket with relentless purpose, nailed crucial shots, and set a tone that resonated with the unspoken promise. We're not backing down, finishing with 23 points on 9 of 19 shooting. Mitchell not only led the team, but also shouldered the responsibilities typically handled by Clark. Remarkably, she had been the league's top scorer throughout July.
14 20-point games this season. In her 8th year, she also has a couple of 30s. And Mitchell trains the 3.
Now have a little bit of an advantage in the paint, and they need to keep doing that.
That time, Dejanay went for the steal, and Mitchell kept it away from her. Would not have taken that call so gently, shall we say. Kalani Brown was her buffer last year. Is Mitchell all the way to the hole?
So you stick together, communicate on defense. This is a high-octane offensive team.
Beautiful pass. Mitchell was so sure of that. After she passed it, she started running down the other end.
But Paige Bueckers wasn't going down without a fight. The standout rookie delivered a commanding performance, dropping 22 points on an efficient 7 of 14 shooting clip, along with 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. She was the only Dallas player to crack double figures, showcasing the full spectrum of her 3-level scoring ability in just her debut WNBA season. The game quickly turned into a thrilling back-and-forth slugfest, keeping fans glued to every possession. But then, controversy crept in. The free throw disparity raised eyebrows across the board. Dallas earned 25 attempts at the line, while Indiana had just 13, nearly double. It didn't take long for fans to flood social media, calling out the lopsided officiating and accusing Bueckers of selling contact to bait the refs. Even Wings head coach Chris Claines couldn't hide his frustration, publicly calling out the officiating crew after the final buzzer.
Go to the basket here, but you got to go up strong right there. Don't shy away from the defense because they will get out in transition. And Kelsey Mitchell doing what she does. Indiana up in Dallas.
The real meltdown, though, came courtesy of DJ Jane Carrington. Last season's most improved player looked completely out of sync, turning in a performance she wanted to forget. She managed just 4 points while coughing up 5 turnovers, one more deflating than the last. The low point came late in the third quarter. With under a minute left, she pushed the ball up the floor and forced a wild, off-balance shot that barely grazed the rim. The crowd's reaction set it all disbelief, disappointment, and frustration. Her off night wasn't just a footnote. It played a huge role in Dallas unraveling when they needed stability the most.
Finding ways to get wins, and that's going on some scoring bursts. That's being able to rely on multiple players, getting stops when needed, making adjustments and continuing to grow. I mean, this is a group that's been resilient all season long, and I think that we have such quality depth that we can rely on one another, and rely on one another in certain moments.
When the final horn echoed through the arena, the scoreboard told the story. Indiana 88, Dallas 7-8. This wasn't just a win, it was a declaration. The Fever proved they're not just Caitlin Clark and a supporting cast trying to hang on. They're a team in every sense of the word. They showed maturity, poise, and the ability to handle business when expected, something championship-caliber teams do consistently. As head coach Stephanie White put it after the game, this wasn't a lucky break, it was a win they earned and one they were supposed to get.
Stick to your defensive principles. This is an Indiana team that has very nimble on the offensive end.
McDonald from the outside rattles another 3. That's her third of the ball.
Just 3 months ago, they weren't even on the radar. Now, Aari McDonald and Chloe Bibby have emerged as Indiana's unexpected X-factors. These two midseason additions didn't arrive with fanfare. No splashy announcements, no lofty expectations. In fact, they were seen as simple depth pieces, quiet insurance policies for a team looking to stay afloat. But somewhere along the way, that narrative flipped. McDonald and Bye weren't just filling gaps, they were flipping scripts and shifting momentum in ways no one anticipated.
She should have looked up and said, "Oh, aren't you an all-star?" And Cunningham completes it.
That's what Indiana does better than anybody in the WNBA.
Aari McDonald's journey feels straight out of a sports drama. At the start of the season, she didn't have a team, completely unsigned, overlooked, and left waiting. Then came a lifeline. On June 25th, Indiana extended a rest-of-season contract after she'd spent a short stint on a hardship deal. It wasn't flashy, but it was an opportunity, and she seized it. Fast forward to the Dallas matchup, McDonald poured in 15 points, dished out 6 assists, and commanded the offense like a seasoned leader. She looked every bit like a core piece, not a late addition. And this performance came right after she lit it up, with a career-high showing against Phoenix proving she's not just rising to the moment, she's built for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing with Aari is that she's dependable. And she's dependable, not always for production, but she understands the impact that she can make in the game. And she understands how to do it, starting it on the defensive end, pushing pace, dictating tempo, getting to the rim, creating shots for her teammates, all of those things. And she's got an incredible awareness. And so she understands when she's hot, and she understands when somebody else is hot and how to get them the ball. But I've just been really proud to see her confidence grow in our system and the ownership that she's taking in being that leader on the floor for us.
What set McDonald apart that night wasn't just the stat line. It was her feel for the game. From the moment she stepped on the court, her point guard instincts were on full display. She read the tempo like a veteran, knowing exactly when to accelerate the pace and when to rein it in. She got her teammates in rhythm, orchestrating the offense with confidence and control. Coach Stephanie White saw it instantly, praising McDonald's natural floor general mindset and the way she understands how to shape the game around her. Kelsey Mitchell echoed the sentiment, calling her a blessing in disguise, the kind of steady leadership the Fever didn't know they needed until she delivered it.
I'd say Boston, the rebound to Mitchell. McDonald splits the D. Bibby, this is where she's good. She can extend the defense, and she's done it.
For that nice jumper.
Bueckers again, another double-digit game, 6 in the quarter. Here's Bibby, launches, buries the 3.
Bibby, don't do it like that.
Then there was Chloe Bibby, who wasted no time making her presence felt in just a few minutes off the bench. She drilled 2 clutch three-pointers. These weren't heat checks or flukes. They were momentum-shifting daggers that gave the Fever just enough separation to stay in control. Bibby's floor spacing opened up lanes, creating room for her teammates to thrive. Her timing was sharp, her confidence unmistakable. Coach White applauded how seamlessly she fit into the system, noting that Chloe not only recognized the right moments to step up, but never hesitated when they came.
You signed Chloe Bibby to a rest of season contract today. Just what impressed you about her on that 7-day and those 2 games she played in?
Well, number one, just the way that she fit in right away. She gives us a different look from that forward position with her ability to stretch the floor. And particularly in 2 games where we really needed to create space for AB to go to work inside, she was able to do that for us. She came in and she learned the system right away. It just was such an easy transition, and she's produced.
But here's where things really took a turn for Chloe Bibby. After just 2 appearances in a Fever jersey, she secured a rest of season contract, an uncommon show of trust after such limited minutes. Yet, it was clear Indiana had seen enough. Coach White pinpointed exactly why Bibby filled a gap the team had been struggling with all season. She's a stretch forward, White explained. She's a shooter, and we haven't had that in a system craving floor spacing and scoring. Versatility, Bibby checked every box, and the Fever didn't hesitate to lock her in.
Watch the attention Boston gets. Opens up a lot for the guards. Here's Boston. Bueckers had nothing she could do. No rebound, Howard. That's rebound number 9 to go along with her 9 points. Beautiful dish inside to Boston.
What we'll do is share the basketball here. Just a little dump down to Boston.
Paige Carrington rolls to the hole. Howard with a rejection.
To the basket here, but you got to go up strong right there.
These 2 under-the-radar additions, Aari McDonald and Chloe Bibby, turned into game-changers during the Fever's most impressive stretch since 2015. McDonald brought the steady hand and leadership at point guard that the team had been missing. Bibby gave them sorely needed floor spacing, unclogging the offense and giving stars like Kelsey Mitchell and Aliyah Boston room to operate. Coach White's system didn't just work, it clicked because these 2 understood their roles from the jump and delivered without hesitation. This wasn't about just surviving the absence of Caitlin Clark anymore. The Fever were thriving, fueled by players who weren't even expected to be part of the equation. But McDonald and Bibby weren't the only ones writing history that night. While most fans had their eyes locked on the scoreboard, something historic was quietly unfolding on the stat sheet. In one single game, the Fever shattered for separate franchise records. These weren't just solid outings, these were milestone moments that redefined the ceiling of this team. Here's the first stunner. Aliyah Boston and Natasha Howard became the first pair of teammates in WNBA history to both record at least 10 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals in a single game. Let that sink in, no duo had ever done that before. Boston racked up 12 points, 11 boards, 5 assists, 3 steals, and a block. Right alongside her, Howard posted 11 points, a staggering 16 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and a block. It wasn't just dominance, it was a masterclass in all-around impact.
That pass outside to Howard.
Oh,
Boston
wow.
at the basket, foul on Haley Jones.
It is not a move her out geographically away from the lane to get her off the basket. Tough rebound there.
Geisel shooter's going to come out. Lee Yu-Ru will check into the...
Now let's zero in on Natasha Howard's 16 rebounds, her personal best. She absolutely owned the glass, snatching boards like she was in a league of her own. It wasn't just hustle, it was complete control, as if the opposition didn't stand a chance when the ball was in the air. Meanwhile, Aliyah Boston quietly extended her double-double streak to 5 straight games with 11 rebounds of her own. She's been a rock all season, but this game proved she could level up under pressure, delivering exactly what her team needed in a high-stakes moment. Her consistency met Clichin. It made all the difference.
The 100 win over Phoenix. Stephanie White called that a big win.
Ooh,
They were outstanding.
goodness.
Mitchell,
come on.
the former Dallas wing, Natasha Howard.
Nobody was looking for this. We think Kelsey Mitchell's going to shoot, but that is the play to make right there. Nobody in the passing lane.
Now here's where things get even more impressive. Chloe Bibby etched her name into the franchise record books by knocking down multiple three-pointers in each of her first 3 games with the Fever. Those 2 triples against Dallas, they weren't just clutch, they were historic. No player in Indiana Fever history had ever opened their stint with the team by hitting multiple threes in 3 straight games. But I didn't just make an impact, she set the standard. And the 4th record, that belongs to Aari McDonald. She became the 3rd fastest player in franchise history to hit 150 points and 50 assists. The only 2 names ahead of her, Caitlin Clark and Tamika Catching's 2 icons of the game. For someone who wasn't even on the roster a few months ago, that's nothing short of extraordinary. Her ability to both score and distribute has been pivotal, stepping seamlessly into the point, guard role, and holding it down with poise beyond expectation.
For us, when we get a chance to really put ourselves in a position to, win games, we got to win them. I think any competitor knows that when we say win them, win them. And I think we took some time off, we had a little drop off today, and I think that's what she's talking about. It was inconsistent. I think we could have been a little bit better.
For franchise records in a single night, this wasn't a fluke. It was a statement. The Fever weren't just pulling off an upset or catching a team off guard. They were stepping into their identity, one built on depth, balance, and shared responsibility. Aliyah Boston and Natasha Howard brought a front-court presence that was downright unstoppable. Kelsey Mitchell continued to deliver with her trademark scoring reliability. Chloe Bibby expanded the floor from the moment she checked in, and Aari McDonald. She ran the offense with the poise of a seasoned floor general. But the most electrifying moment wasn't during the game, it came after the final buzzer. That's when the gravity of what this team had just done really began to sink in.
Obviously, Aari, you only joined this team mid-season, officially on a full contract now. Congratulations. But just the impact that Aari has had overall, how do you feel like?
Oh, it's unbelievable. This is our blessing in disguise. We always tell her that we appreciate her.
Seriously, Kelsey Mitchell's post-game remarks weren't just routine praise. They carried a weight that Fever fans immediately felt. The locker room was electric, players still glowing from a night where they shattered for franchise records. Amid the celebration, Mitchell took the mic, speaking with the kind of calm confidence that comes from knowing your team just leveled up. At first glance, her comments seemed straightforward, commending teammates for stepping into big roles when others were sidelined, but then came the line that turned heads. "This is our blessing in disguise." It was a direct nod to Aari McDonald's impact, but the meaning ran deeper. In light of the recent roster shakeups and questions about depth, Mitchell's words felt like a quiet declaration. The Fever hadn't just patched the holes, they'd discovered something even stronger beneath the surface.
Our season was all over the place, obviously, with, the people that was on the team, the people that wasn't on the team, injury, Tutu not being around as much with her injuries, and just, it takes a lot for a pro to step up and, be where her feet is and step and fill in shoes that, not a lot of people expect. And I think for Aari, she compliments myself, all the other players so well because she just gets it as far as knowing where people are, knowing the chemistry. And I think for us to her, we have to make sure that we keep patting her on the back because this is a big position to fill. And I think that she's doing it unbelievably well. So shout out to you, Aari. Shout out.
Love it.
Now here's where things really took a turn beneath the surface. Kelsey Mitchell's blessing in disguise comment about Aari McDonald wasn't just a compliment. It subtly reflected a larger shift within the Fever. Beneath the praise was a veiled reference to Dana Bonner's departure earlier in the season. When the team waived Bonner, it freed up the space and resources that ultimately led to keeping McDonald and signing Chloe Bibby. And from Mitchell's tone, it was clear. The team saw those moves not as losses, but as turning points. She went deeper, saying, "We always tell her that we appreciate her. Seriously. Because our season was all over the place, and it takes a lot for a pro to step up. Be where her feet is and fill in shoes that not a lot of people expect." That wasn't just admiration, it was recognition of a team finding its rhythm after weathering early instability. This wasn't only about McDonald. It was a broader nod to how the roster shakeup brought clarity, chemistry, and fresh energy. Coach Stephanie White leaned hard into that mindset, rallying her players around an us versus the world philosophy. Her emphasis on resilience became the glue that held this squad together and the spark that lit their fire. The players bought in completely. You could see it in the way they moved, more fluid, more connected, more confident. After the game, several spoke openly about the shift in team chemistry, the stronger trust, and the growing belief in one another. This wasn't just a team celebrating a hot streak. This was a group that had been forged through tough decisions. unexpected additions, and shared adversity, and came out on the other side knowing exactly who they were. Now here's where things really took a turn beneath the surface. Kelsey Mitchell's blessing in disguise comment about Aari McDonald wasn't just a compliment. It subtly reflected a larger shift within the Fever. Beneath the praise was a veiled reference to Dana Bonner's departure earlier in the season. When the team waived Bonner, it freed up the space and resources that ultimately led to keeping McDonald and signing Chloe Bibby. And from Mitchell's tone, it was clear. The team saw those moves not as losses, but as turning points. She went deeper, saying, "We always tell her that we appreciate her. Seriously. Because our season was all over the place, and it takes a lot for a pro to step up, be where her feet is, and fill in shoes that not a lot of people expect." That wasn't just admiration, it was recognition of a team finding its rhythm after weathering early instability. This wasn't only about McDonald. It was a broader nod to how the roster shakeup brought clarity, chemistry, and fresh energy. Coach Stephanie White leaned hard into that mindset, rallying her players around an us versus the world philosophy. Her emphasis on resilience became the glue that held this squad together and the spark that lit their fire. The players bought in completely. You could see it in the way they moved, more fluid, more connected, more confident. After the game, several spoke openly about the shift in team chemistry, the stronger trust, and the growing belief in one another. This wasn't just a team celebrating a hot streak. This was a group that had been forged through tough decisions, unexpected additions, and shared adversity, and came out on the other side knowing exactly who they were.
And I asked Kelsey in regards to, or about this, but Aari, just the impact that she's had for you all this season. What do you like most about what you've seen from her thus far?
No, number one, her energy. I mean, she is, she's an energy giver. She's fast. Her speed changes the game for us. Her ability to get the ball from one end to the other quickly. Her ability to get into players defensively. She changes the game for us in that way. I have continued to be impressed with just how quickly she immersed herself, into our team and fit in right away.
Caitlin Clark's return is adding a whole new level of anticipation, and rightfully so. Just imagine this already record-breaking roster getting their superstar back. The bond, the rhythm, the chemistry this team built in her absence isn't going to disappear, it's going to amplify. Kelsey Mitchell and the rest of the squad know they've crossed an important threshold. They didn't just stay afloat without Clark, they evolved. The Fever are no longer a one show. They've carved out an identity built on balance, resilience, and trust. Every roster move, every adjustment has led to a lineup that fits together more naturally than anyone could have predicted. Roles are clearer, the system flows, and the belief in one another is undeniable. And now, with Clark set to return, the ceiling only rises. 2025 isn't just shaping up to be a good season, it's shaping up to be the season. The Fever aren't just contenders because of one name anymore. They're a complete unit. A 4.4 records shattered in one night. Aari McDonald rising into franchise history books. Chloe by rewriting the standard for new shooters. Aliyah Boston and Natasha Howard making WNBA history as a front-court duo. This team just sent a loud message to the league. Indiana isn't waiting on Clark to be great, they're building something together. And with their leader returning to a team that's already on fire, the rest of the WNBA better be on alert. If you believe in this team's journey, drop a comment below. I've got the Fever. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because the next chapter in Indiana's story is just beginning.